I'll just go ahead and begin by letting you just talk about, what really kind of sticks out to you in your mind as you've been processing really the past week or so, just day by day, kind of picking up the pieces.
My main focus every day from nightfall to the sunrise to the sun setting again has just been making sure my people out here, because there is no city and county lines right now, right? This is our people. They're hurting, and making sure they get what they need. That has been really our focus, and that's been in my mind. We're constantly having teams, city disaster relief teams that we started Sunday into Monday, out every day, delivering goods to getting feedback. So that's been my every waking moment since this.
What's the best way that people can help right now?
First of all, pray. We need all the prayer we can get in this community as we go into next week and begin to lay a lot of these folks to rest. But then donating, whether it's right now the need is anything that you think a person could use to clean up after something of this, wheelbarrows, not spaded shovels, but flathead shovels, tools, things of that nature. We're trying to get that out to the families. So bringing it right here to the London Corbin Airport, you can drop off donations here, but also go to the Laurel County United Way and donate any monetary stuff there.
Have you gotten any sense yet of just the scale of the tragedy so far when it comes to, I know we have a death toll, but when it comes to the number of, families that may have been affected by this that could have lost their home or had a structure on their property affected?
So Laurel County wide, I think we're upwards of 300 homes that has been destroyed. That number could change because you're not counting light damage and stuff like that. So the magnitude of the damage set in Saturday morning as sun came up, you knew it was bad in the headlights or when you had a flashlight or your phone and you're trying to find people. But it really set home for us when the sun came up and you was looking and stuff you knew was sitting there at one time is now nothing but toothpicks. That's when it hit how hard and how powerful this tornado was.
Is this your hometown?
This is.
What you mentioned there, seeing places that have always been there your whole life, and suddenly that's changed. As a human being, what's that like?
Ultimately, we know we can rebuild these structures, but as the death toll was going on and we heard over the radio throughout the night as I was out directing traffic, doing everything that I could to help the team because it was all hands on deck. And I kept hearing on the radio as I was trying to divert traffic and stuff like that, another one, they would call out the code for a death. And was the most impactful thing to me in this storm. The buildings, yes, you come here to the airport, which I love this airport. It's great for our city to see the destruction here on our hangars and then the homes that's always been around it, the communities that's been around it, and see them wiped out. It's left a scar. But it was the death that mostly impacted me the most that night.
I'm sure you may have also heard some of the survivor stories too, folks that I just know we were reporting just the other day on a couple that lost arms while protecting each other. All of these different just horrifying stories of people that survived this. I mean, what does that really say to you about the resilience of some of the people here in your community?
This is. I have said this so many times in the things that we've went through as a community down here, but every time something happens, it shows you how resilient we are. I don't want to put the young man's name out, but I want to say this story. There was a young man, 25 years old, here just in this air park, covered his mother up and saved her life. And he passed. But she's alive because of her 25-year-old son. So, I'm sorry. it says who we are as a community here.
You know, you've mentioned a little bit of you know, how that night went for you, but if you don't mind, can you kind of share a bit of your perspective of what happened that night for you?
So when the tornado, we seen in the distance, we had seen the transformers exploding. And I called the communication center here, and I spoke to the director who was already on staff, and I said, have you guys set off the sirens, the warning systems? And he said yes. And I said, well, I'm telling you, in the distance from London here, I said, I'm seeing transformers exploding in the darkness. I said, there's a tornado, there's something coming. And I said, set that thing off, the sirens off every 60 seconds until this thing passes. And I said, even if it's not, great. I said, but we need to warn as many as we can. And so they did. And, you know, you could hear like this, they say it's like a train. I don't know as much of a train, but it was this woo, 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 woo sound, and it was getting louder and louder. So we knew then that this was a tornado, and so then immediately we jumped into our vehicles because everybody was kindly on standby. We started heading to the south side of London here, and as we got down US 25 around this southern portion, you started seeing the devastation. And that's, you know, I kind of learned that night. You know, I always ask my first responders, how do you guys do this? How do you deal with this? And they just say, you know, that's who we are. And I seen that night, even in myself, that when you're dealing with this, there's like a burst of adrenaline, and all you can do, you're thinking about, is just helping these people, because, you know, there's people everywhere. Their homes just got destroyed. And so you're back. I'm the mayor. I don't have medical training and stuff. And all these guys, the police, the fire, the rescue squad. The rescue squad here in this county, the London Laurel Rescue Squad, John Allen, his team did amazing. The city fire department and all the other fire departments in this county come running, don't get me wrong. But the initial ones that hit there first, and the city police department, they just took charge and started going with it, and then all these other fire departments and police departments started coming. But there was one particular time that I had made my way from US 25 over to 1006 here, and they made a call out that they needed 363 shut down. So I went up to the roundabout, which is at the Lowe's here, and I stationed myself there because, you know, everybody's trying to save lives and get people to the hospital. And I was sitting there, and I know we're listening to the radio, and it's just people calling out from everywhere. You know, this one, we injured here, and you're listening to this, and I'm directing traffic, and there's a moment that things became calm, and I remember seeing this long line of, first responders. And the first one pulls up, and he said, where are we going? And I said, to Sunshine Hills, go down 363. And it was like God sent, because I knew our people needed that. So you didn't have a lot to think about that night. It was the next day that you really started processing everything you've seen. But there is several things that stick out in my mind, and that's some of them.
How would you say this week has challenged you as a leader?
I think any leader that goes through this, it challenges every aspect of you. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's all the above. And I'm going to just be honest with you, and it's probably not something that they want you to do or speak about, but I'm very vocal about this. It's Christ. That's where I think we have found our resolve as a community to begin picking up our pieces, to lay our dead to rest. And even that night, the prayers that we were all giving up every time we seen someone injured, and hearing and knowing what our first responders were going through, it's been Christ. I've been leading heavy on Him and my faith to get me through this. But then trusting those that have the knowledge and not being prideful to not accept that, hey, this might be the direction we need to go. So I believe and always believe that we're only successful by putting the smartest and brightest around us. And I've built that team here in this city. But I will say this, the state has been a great asset after the days of this to this entire community.
And I'm a person of faith myself, I understand. I understand there have been vigils that have been held so far. How do you think they have played a role in helping heal the community?
The first one we did was right here at our command post here at the airport, and you could feel the Spirit of the Lord here. I think it's huge. As a society, as a community, we have to divert back to Him in everything. And I think that in the most chaotic storm, if we would seek Him, seek Christ, I think that's where we'll find our resolve and our peace. And that visual was the start of that. And I truly believe that. And we have another one Friday night at 8 as well. That one we did here this past time was short notice, but we wanted to get a bunch of faith leaders together, the community together as many as we could, and just pray.
Yeah, there's still more healing to do.
Tons. We have a long road ahead of us, and we know this, but you said it, and I've said it. This is a resilient community, and if we let our faith lead us and we stick to what we know is right and good, we will get through this, but we have to do it together.
You mentioned some state government support. Can you talk a bit more about different resources, maybe that have already been shared, or what may be needed a little bit further down the road from either the state or federal government?
So, right now, I know we're waiting on President Trump to sign the declaration. So that's really needed at this moment, and by this time this airs, he may have it signed. But right now I cannot tell you anything that the state needs to do, because they're doing it, and that is the truth. From our state reps to senators to Governor Beshear's cabinet, I mean, they have been all responsive. What do you need? Them sending themselves coming down here, or sending friends, construction companies that they know, and donate them. It's been tremendous. And to see that politics has been put aside, the red or blue's been put aside, we're all Kentuckians. That's what we're seeing in London and Laurel County right now. And everybody coming together, from, Robert Stivers down here helping clean up, to Derek Lewis, Tom Odell. We've had Senator Storms, just so many people, and other senators from other districts and other regions, and state reps that's come here, and it's been beautiful. Again, back to Governor Beshear's team, he has sent a team down here in this county. They've been here, and they've been advising, giving guidance on how to get through this. So it's been a tremendous effort. And right now, today, we're just Kentuckians. That's all we are.
As we start looking ahead, is there any sort of takeaways from how different resources were coordinated, emergency management, response, and so forth, y'all will be sort of taking with you going into, God forbid, any future severe weather event that may happen? Is there any sort of thinking there about how this may contribute to future events?
Yeah, so the city, we have sirens that we have, thankfully. The county does not. So I think that in the future, they will begin to look to implement them throughout the county, so that there is a warning system like that, of that nature. And then, again, I remember the next day, one of the EM guys here in this area was talking, and he said, I don't care how many times you read this in a textbook or you get it in a training, when it happens, you're learning something every time. So as a community, do we need to do things different? Yes, I think that we're looking at it more of how do we broadcast even more to our elderly folks. But, I got to say, the meteorologists in this state did a wonderful job of saying this thing's coming and this is what it is. So there's no failures. in the future, I think as a county-wide, we need to look at a county-wide siren system.
Well, as we just start wrapping up our conversation, Mayor Weddle, in a community where something like this has touched so many different people, it may be hard to have an individual conversation with each and every person. But in the event that I don't know who this broadcast is going to reach, but if you had the chance to speak to somebody who has been affected, by this tragedy, what do you have to say to them?
I want you to know that not only my office, but this entire community is behind you. You're not alone. Even when you feel that you're alone, you are not. Reach out to us. We've set up 24 hours a day operation right here at the airport. We will be here and we will continue to be here. I've committed that my office is not going nowhere until we rebuild this community. But we have to do this together. We have to do this as one. It cannot be mayor and just judge, but we have to do this as a community. So at your darkest moment, just know when you feel hopeless that you have people here that love you, and you've seen that. So look back in those times when you're feeling that way of how many volunteers have been out here to bring you water and food. Because we've been told there will be a low point for a lot of these victims. And we just want to reassure them that there's somebody here 24 hours a day.